How's it going, everyone? It is Drago. We're back with another chapter of Fairy Tale 100 Year Quest, chapter 111, Cries of the Earth. Cover page for this chapter has Lucy, Wendy, and Carla on it, and they're all at a beach, and Lucy's looking very gorgeous. Also, Carla with a little hat on is very cute as well. But obviously the main center of this cover is Lucy, which just was Wendy and them in the background. Also, I really like the flower that's in her hair. I think overall a very cute cover. We pick up the chapter with Natsu and Sazuku getting ready to start fighting the Earth Dragon God. You get to see that Silene is just still bleeding out in the background, and Natsu and Sazuku start to charge the Earth Dragon God, and he starts to summon up a ton of just pillars of rock, and they're just dodging in between them, and Natsu does his first attack, that being the Fire Dragon's Iron Fist. Kind of love that he just takes it and it just like deforms his cheek a bit and he's just not even scathed by it whatsoever. And he just starts summoning a ton of rock in his hand and pushes it towards Natsu, sending him flying. With Natsu's attack being kind of worthless, Sazuku follows it up with the Carnegie style sword drawing art, underworld purgatory dance. And the Earth Dragon God and also Sazuku himself kind of remember in his head that like, oh yeah, it's right, he's using like the walls of the labyrinth and like they can't be cut. And he gets real confident off of this because he's like, well, if you guys can't break these walls, you know, how do you think you have any chance of defeating me? And he does an attack named Earth Dragon God's Zikitora. Sorry if I mispronounced it. And that just sends an absolute barrage of rocks towards Natsu and Sazuku. And this is where you get the name of the chapter, because he says, let the cries of the earth tremble. Which, surprisingly enough, Natsu here was able to dodge all that rock barragement towards him. Absolutely love how creative Natsu got right here, because he's like, well, if I can't hurt him, I'm just going to punch a rock towards him and hit him with that. Kind of similar to what Gray did with Silver. That's kind of dope. And while he's dodging that rock that's flying towards him, Natsu is attacking him also from above, and he hits him with the Fire Dragon's Talon, which doesn't even put a scratch on him. And Sazuku follows it up by striking him with the sword, and he just grabs it in the palm of his hand like it's nothing, and proceeds to send both Natsu and Sazuku flying off together. And pretty much nothing has phased him so far, and surprisingly enough, you get Silene out of her dragon form, and she is very beaten up. And Silene talks about him as a dragon, to where he is basically renowned as a god, and there's no hope that Natsu and Sazuku could probably match him, and if she weren't so badly wounded, she would face him herself. And then she starts going into his actual weakness, the labyrinth being his body, and he also has these gemstones throughout the labyrinth and throughout his body itself that store, magic power. So he has a bunch of them within his body right now, but there's a bunch of them just scattered throughout the labyrinth as well, and each one of these orbs is a portion of his power, and if you were to destroy all of them, his power would diminish. And Happy asks, how many of these stones are there? And she says 72. As a side note from this chapter, I absolutely love how much Happy is freaking out. Like, he has so many great expressions throughout this whole chapter. And Happy's freaking out, like, how are we going to find 72 of them while Natsu and Sazuku are fighting this guy right now? And Silene is just like, well, we're going to follow their magic power, and did you forget that I can connect space? And gosh dang, when she's casting this spell, she looks so defeated. So you get Silene making a portal to Urza, Gray, Wendy, Gajiel, Lily, and Carla. And Silene and Happy go through the portal themselves. I'm sure this group is very confused, like, why did Silene just walk through this portal with Happy, and why is she so beat up? I honestly kind of forgot that Gajiel even had one of these gemstones, but Silene asks for it, and she basically, says to them, this is the Earth Dragon God's power, and I need to destroy it. Now they get the fun task of, oh, that was one destroyed, now there's only 71. Have fun finding them all. And they're all like Why are we gonna believe you, Silene? And just Happy in the background, just freaking out. No, we gotta go find these now. We're gonna save Natsu right now. This is what we need to do. Because they're all like, what? Earth Dragon God? Who the flips this guy? Isn't he supposed to be dead? And Happy's just on the ground, like dying, like, no, he came back to life. You gotta help me. You gotta destroy these things right now. Surprisingly enough, Urza's already awake from her injuries. I really am surprised that Urza is so willing to be mobile after the fight that she had. You see Silene making portals to Loxus and Lucy as well. And Lucy was really beat up as well from her fight, and she's looking really well. Same thing for Loxus, because he had literally like half his body cut. Silene literally turned into Smash Brothers, saying that everyone is here. Everyone's just like, what the heck's going on here? And Silene's like, okay, I will explain it to you later, but right now we need to destroy these crystals, and I beg of you to lend me your power so we can defeat the Earth Dragon God. And that is the end of our chapter. So my thoughts, fighting the Earth Dragon God, it's pretty similar to some of the previous dragon gods they fought, where they had to destroy crystals to weaken them. The people that were like, oh man, Gray and Gajil, they didn't get to do anything this arc, I guess they get to destroy crystals. The Earth Dragon God himself, he actually had some pretty cool moves when he was fighting Natsu and Sazuku, and he is very much a tank. Now, as someone that previously thought that Silene was dead, and now she's an active part of this chapter. Silene's allegiances are flip-flopping like crazy, because she was the villain quite a few arcs ago, and then now she is on the hero's side, helping them try and kill this dragon. To be honest, I really wasn't expecting her to team up with Team Fairy Tail. That was something I didn't really see coming, and especially at the beginning of this chapter, because you see her in her dragon form, she's just laying there bleeding. I thought she's just going to be laying there bleeding the whole time. People's injuries got kind of forgotten about. At least Urza's injuries kind of healing faster at least made sense, because she was with Wendy. But Lucy and Loxus, they weren't near anyone, so like, how are they healing a lot faster? I guess it doesn't particularly matter, but just kind of an interesting thing to point out. Otherwise, what do you guys think of the chapter? Leave it in the comments below. Earlier this week, I posted a video about learning magic, so if you wanted to learn about that, go check that out. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and this is Trago, signing out.